So last month I did several jokes about my wife's vagina. And so I want to issue a public apology to my dick. I think I might have ruined their relationship. So a couple things that have been on my mind. Taking a shit in a public restroom and eating ass. They are equally disgusting. And apparently I do both. I may or may not have done one and or the other in this establishment this afternoon. But I'm not an animal, I'm not a monster. There are boundaries, there are limits. There are things that I will not do. For instance, I will not, no matter what, under any circumstance, I refuse to eat peas. Unless they're sweet or in my wife's ass, but that is where I draw the line. Peas are gross. The other thing is my pull-out game is horrendous. Long story short, I have 10 kids. Of my 10 kids, 8 are no longer in the home. They are adulting, or whatever it's called when you move out of your parents' house, but you always need shit. That's what they're doing. And I just recently got a phone call from one of my daughters. I guess it was a trending topic on TikTok. And she asked me, would I rather have a gay son or a thought daughter, right? For those that don't know, a thought is a whore, a Jezebel, slut. And she asked, would I rather have a gay son or a thought daughter? And my initial thought was, it's 10 of y'all, so there's a strong possibility I already got one of each. You a little loose with the juice, and your brother got his nipple pierced and wears black fingernail polish. Strong possibility. But I didn't say that, I thought about it. Gay son, thought daughter. So what I realized is I'm very open-minded, right? Would I rather have a gay son or a thought daughter? And what I came to understand is it doesn't matter to me if I have a gay son or a thought daughter. The only thing that matters to me is that my child is happy. And that they suck dick well enough that they don't have to ask me for money. I need to know that I raised them right. You know, proper morals and values. Be more like your mom is what I'm saying. It's important. That's important. We did just recently discover that the 2 children that live in the home, they are both special needs. One needs to shut the fuck up. And the other one needs to get the fuck out. And they both need to understand that neither one of them hoes is special, that's what we discovered. And the one that won't stop talking, they just run around just blah, 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 just constantly yapping like a fucking teenage schoolgirl. And I think part of the problem is the fact that she's a teenage schoolgirl. And the other part of the problem is I'm too fucking old to be raising a teenager. Not sure how we ended up giving birth to our own grandchild. Probably should have named her Jesus. I'm sure it was Immaculate Conception or Miracle Meat, as I like to call it. And then the one that won't leave, he's a little different. He's not like school shooter different. per se. He'll definitely murder me in my sleep. It's a strong possibility I'll wake up tomorrow with puncture wounds and blunt force trauma. And the thing is, there's been signs. So the first sign, I called the house one day. I told him to look in his sister's shoe so I could find out what shoe size she wore. And when he came back to the phone, he said a 4.5. In America, we just say 4.5. Not sure what metric system he uses. The second thing is he was in his room and I walked in and I caught him doing the unthinkable. He was putting on deodorant. And the way he puts on his deodorant is he uses one hand, like so. Nobody but a serial killer. He's definitely a serial killer. One hand. Now, the third thing, I took him to the movies. We went to see Venom. When we got done, I said, that was pretty good. What you think? He looked at me and he said, I hate when people ask me that. And then he turned and walked off into the darkness in the daytime. First of all, nobody takes him to the movies but me. So I figured that was his way of telling me to shut the fuck up before he eats my liver. So then we get home, I tell my wife, I say, hey honey, I tell her about everything that happened with my son. And I said, why do you think he's like that? And she said, I don't know, maybe because he's artistic. And I said, it's not artistic, it's autistic. And if he is that, he gets that from your side of the family. She said, no, I meant artistic. Artists be weird. I said, honey, I'm an artist. She said, exactly. So then I said, no, really, why do you think he's like that? And she said, I hate when people ask me that. And then she turned and walked off into the darkness in the daytime. So another thing is my wife had vaginal rejuvenation. And now she thinks she's better than the rest of us. And she is, but that's beside the point. The point is she put a 2020 Corvette motor on a 1974 Buick LeSabre. And she gets mad at me for speeding. That is insanity. That is insanity. She put a jet engine on a covered wagon is what I'm saying. And it's hard for me to slow down. So that's my time, y'all. But before I get out of here, I just want to be clear. I would never eat a woman's ass without her consent. Thanks, y'all.